to Cars of Sweden Live. This is the 50th episode.
Yep, 50th episode, so we had to take out the world's most attractive car. And that is?
It's a Jaguar.
Yeah, a Jaguar E-Type from 1970, Mark II with a 4.2.
Now, people might have seen this car in the background quite a lot on our shows, yeah? But today it's ready for the road.
Yep.
So, right, what we got then, Sean?
So this is an American import from 1970. It's the 4.2, as I said earlier, and it's a straight six.
Lovely.
Jaguar started with this series in 1961 with the Series 1. They started with just the cab and the coupe.
Okay.
And then they came a few years after with the 2+2.
Right.
It's like a little back seat for small people.
Is that right?
Yeah, but there's no back seat on this. This is the cab.
But can you get a back seat in it? Jesus.
Yeah, it was a slightly longer wheelbase on that car. So, but the Series 1 is the one that most people really want to, you know, the mega bucks you get for those because they're the ones people want. But the Series 2 is a much nicer car to drive because you've got the first ones didn't have a synchromesh on the gearbox.
Right.
So they were really clunky. And this one's really nice to drive. And a slightly bigger engine, 4.2.
Okay.
It was the same brake horsepower as the 3.8, but it had a lot more newton meters of torque.
Okay, how did they manage that then?
Good question. By having a bigger displacement on the engine.
Okay.
So I think I'll have to check on my figures, but I think it was about 230 is a 3.8 newton meters of torque, and this one had like 280. So it had a lot more torque on the engine.
So back then, when are we talking 50s, 60s?
We're talking 1961 when they first released it.
Right.
And they did a Series 1 up till 68, but they did a model called the Series 1.5, which is mainly built for the US market because they had harder restrictions on emissions.
Right.
And then 68 came the Mark II, and then 71 to 74 came the V12.
Right.
With this car was like way ahead of the time. Was first of all it had all-round disc brakes,
Okay.
monocoque chassis, and independent suspension.
Right.
So I mean that was like unheard of in those days. It was leaps and bounds ahead of Porsche and Mercedes and stuff. So
and the styling as well.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the thing.
Funny thing about this car is I did some little bit of research on this car. When they released this car back in 1961, they had 2 or 3 press cars, and Jaguar, so the story goes, they tuned those cars by an extra 20 to 25% horsepower.
Then the original car.
Yeah, so the car actually did over 150 miles an hour, and 0 to 60 in 6.9 or 6.4.
We're talking like from the back end of the 50s, 60s.
In the 60s, when it was released around 61.
Right.
So those press cars were trimmed. The reason why they found out is a few years later, 20 years later, they found one of those press cars and restored it. And they realised that car had been upgraded and tuned. But by that time, the press had written everywhere in the world, this is the first car that does 150 miles an hour, and blah blah blah. So they tweaked it a little bit.
I would imagine there was a lot of stuff like that going on. I mean,
well, it was just on that series because when this bigger engine came, the 4.2, that did over 150 miles an hour.
Right.
So it was just that.
And what show was that? Was that one of the big shows?
So this car was launched on the Geneva Motor Show in 1961. And Jaguar managed to get one ready to get down there onto the stand.
Right.
And then the week before, a couple of days before, they managed to get another one, but they realised we can't get it down to Geneva on time.
Right.
So the test driver, I can't remember his name, was Jewis. He was a test driver at Jaguar.
Yeah.
He said, okay, in the morning, he left Coventry plant, 7 o'clock in the morning, got down to Geneva, took it to a local dealer, polished it up and drove it onto the stand. So they had 2 cars.
So this one goes up. It'll probably be Bill Webb as well. Yeah, this one's going up on there.
Yeah, it'll go up on Bill Webb in I think either the 3rd or the 5th
of April,
of April,
2021.
Yeah. It's the Easter weekend.
Right. Now I just want to mention to everybody, yeah, because like if you're watching this a year later, right, get onto Cars of Sweden Live, because yeah, you might have missed this one, but we got cars coming every week that are up for auction or up for sale. And yeah, if you get on to the channel in time, you don't miss out. Right?
This is a good. You get a little bit more of a preview.
Yeah. But yeah, I like this. You know me, I like my long fronted cars. You know, I don't have to have an engine behind me, even though back in my Lotus days that was a hell of a lot of fun. But you know, I do like the smoothness of a straight 8 or a straight 6, or you know, just loads of cylinders in front of me or behind me.
I mean, this is a classic double overhead cam, 6-cylinder.
It's smooth, mate. It's very smooth.
Yeah, it's really nice. Get the roof down and fantastic, fantastic.
Right, so you heard it here first. This car, Jaguar from 1960.
No, this is 1970.
1970.
And it's a 4.2 Mark, well, Series 2.
Right, Series 2, up for grabs in the next auction on Billweb in April.
And also for the if there's any American customers, they call these in America XKE.
Okay.
So Europe we call them E-types. The E is for E-type.
Right.
But in the States they call them XKE.
XKE. So all you American people out there, we've got an XKE up for grabs. Listen, thanks for checking out the show as usual. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you do like the show, and we'll check you all out again next week for some more Cars of Sweden Live.